Hello, welcome back to another episode of Shatterdaze with Venom 420. I'm Venom 420, and it's Saturday, so live streaming. That's what I do. I'm fitting it in a little bit late today. It's already 8 o'clock, which is actually when I wanted to end it tonight, but I got busy doing shit. Mushroom shit and pot shit, of course. But that's actually a good thing. Not to mention band stuff going on. So there's a lot of stuff in my life constantly keeping me occupied along with the cat. So, yeah, it's been okay. There's a kitty. But yeah, so dealing with that, I'm in between. I have two little 4x4 grow rooms, right? And one is actually doing pretty decent. I think I have some pictures. There's a kitty. But one of the grow rooms is doing quite decent and filling out pretty nicely. And it's a picture with the flash on it, but so that's just one room. God damn it, Ziggy. Let's get you some treats over here. There we are. Okay. We'll have some treats in a second. Once I get a dab in. But yeah, that's the room right now for the most part. There we are. Oh, that's right when it went away. So just a couple little guys popping up. So they're doing fine. So my other room is in between. I'm doing mushrooms right now, and one of the hardest parts is finding a clean environment to inoculate, do all the shit like that, to put all your clean shit in there. Because what you're doing when you're growing mushrooms is you're creating an ideal space for a spore to take place, grow, and produce. It doesn't have to be a mushroom spore, though. That's the problem. They all come up. Mickey D, hey, buddy. Hey, hopefully all is well. We are smoking on some Wedding Crasher from Stellar Dispensaries. And it's not stellar, but it's okay. So you're creating this environment for a clean workspace. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I've been thinking for a while about using a grow tent as a clean workspace, just an empty little tent. I wish I could just find a pop-up tent that would fit inside and wasn't like rounded. Like if I could get a squared off pop-up tent, that'd be dope. Might look for that. But anyway, they have grow tents for like under $100, just under. And I was going to get an extra one, but I'm sitting there with an empty one. And then I'm like, oh, well, like before I go tonight, I'm going to fill it up with all my pots, all my shit like that, filled up with pot. And I'm like, well, fuck, I have that empty grow room right now. And it's the added benefit if you use it for what I'm doing. I literally have to clean everything with alcohol spray and wipe everything down. So it's this super clean environment, which is perfect for growing pot, starting. So it's super clean, super sterile. But right now I have that room totally cleaned out, covered in alcohol, getting ready for tonight, a whole lot of mushroom inoculations. So, Mickey D, I still want to do your mushrooms again. I got to learn how to grow them. And that's something I want to cover in this show. So I was a little worried. Okay, so like there's these two channels I follow, the Astro Way and Home Mycology. And they're both about growing mushrooms. And even though I haven't really used directly their techniques, I have them saved for things I want to try later and shit like that. And, it's basically all the same shit a little bit. Anyway, they started their channels after mine, if I'm not mistaken, because it's been a few years I've been on here. I wasn't too active at first, but now I've had this channel a few years. And they started after mine, and both of them were taking off really quick. I'm like, oh, these guys are going to be huge soon, which is cool because I'm like, of all the people that I wouldn't mind getting huge, I've seen a lot of them, like recording engineers and shit like that. A couple other people, skateboard reviewers, shit like that. Uh, and they get big. And I'm like, oh, cool, they deserve it. But I'm like, the mushroom community and like self being self-sufficient and not having to look for others for this shit is huge. And I'm like, I would love to see those channels take off. And they were well on their way. Started after mine did, and we're getting way more subscriber rate. Like their subscriber rate was growing exponentially faster than mine was. Then I noticed just on this last stream, like last week, I'm like, suddenly I'm not subscribed to them anymore. And then I go to look at their channel and they're still there, but their subscriber count is like half of mine. And I'm like, well, they should have been way, and they're more active than I am. They have, shit like that. Sometimes I do underestimate how popular some of the videos I have are, though. Neandercats. What's up, by the way? 90-second mycology shows us good stuff, too. You can call it gourmet mushrooms, and we'll get the code. So that's what I've thought about doing, although I'm pretty vocally open. But when I physically show people how to do something, well, and the cool thing is I grow gourmet mushrooms, although gourmet is just a fancy word for I charge you more. Expensive, in other words. But other than that, I grow oyster mushrooms, and I've grown some other mushrooms. I try to grow button mushrooms and lion's mane. I grew one little puff of lion's mane, which sucked that I only got that much. But and they're basically, I've tried to, the problem is I tried to grow them all under the same conditions. And so far, psychedelic mushrooms, magical, medicinal mushrooms, even though most are medicinal, they seem to grow the most like oysters. Oyster mushrooms are easy to grow. It's an entry-level mushroom. And I say if you're going to start growing, go for B+ psychedelic mushrooms and oyster mushrooms. I grow Phoenix oyster mushrooms because I got a dog named Phoenix and it was perfect. So, and they work great. It's hard to fuck them up. Just like with pot, I would also recommend, some of those old school classic strains are really popular for a reason. Is not just the new ones have the funky flavors and the funky names and the popularity that rises and dies the next summer, so be careful with that and all this and that. But I like a hardy plant, something that really does well, that will live through the crazy conditions I have, because I don't have the best AC units and the best this and the best that. So any help you can get, use a hardy plant. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And when you have that mastered, branch out to other things. But you might find out that, working with things that work with you have always been my key to success. And I didn't even know it. I was just lucky enough to start on things that were really hefty growers and really resilient to pests and molds and all this and that. So keep that in mind when you're starting out growing. What you grow shouldn't be based on what you like to smoke. Okay, one big example, one of the last grows I did was green crack, because that's one of my favorite things I've ever smoked. All right, it started from years and years ago. It's an old school strain, and the Cottonmouth Kings would rap about it. I mean, a ton of people I know rapped about it over the years. It's a popular strain. I like the taste, the smell, the high. I hated growing it. I couldn't produce, it wasn't a big producer. It just was finicky. I've had bad luck with a few strains that are popular, but resilience and shit is something to keep in mind, especially if you're dealing with the elements like outside, or you don't have the best setup inside. Like ideally, like I really don't. Young the Inhaler, what up, dude? What do you do for a living? I've been watching you for a while, and I never knew if your life in the marijuana business or what's going on for you. So I do not have a job in the marijuana industry, and a lot of people ask me, Gotta scoot this chair back a touch so I can cross my goddamn leg. A lot of people ask me if I am in the marijuana industry, if I, what I think about it, shit like that. I've had friends in it in every stage, from a retail to like people who kind of manage it, because the managers are just glorified people who do a lot of paperwork. You know what I mean? Give them that. That's the thing. So what I've learned is almost every single position you get is just like another job. The difference between working at a McDonald's and working at a dispensary is you get to brag about working at a dispensary and you're kind of doing a good thing. I think working in the pot industry is a dual-edged blade where your pot is great, but then you're supporting the bureaucracy in between people and the plant that they should have. You're the middleman. And not only are you the middleman, you want their name, you want all their information, you want the fucking, you know what I mean? And I'm like, they have so many weird things that kind of turn me off on that industry. I am a delivery driver. I've been delivering at the same place for 14 years. And that's probably one of the biggest holds on me why I haven't left that place, because I've been there so long. In the last couple of years, management has changed and the ownership has changed and corporate ownership has changed. And every single change that's happened, I've kind of gotten fucked over completely. So I'm like, well, that sucks. I didn't set up for much else. I have a lot of different things going in my life right now, though. But I just wish, we all fall back on that same crutch of money, which is a bummer, because there's certain things, I don't need a lot, nobody needs that much, but you should be guaranteed a little, or you shouldn't have to worry about that. And that's just in an ideal, perfect world. How many of our artists and our most brilliant minds and our most talented musicians and our most prolific writers never had a chance to do it because they had to put their fucking nose to the grindstone for the rest of their lives? Which, I get it. You have to earn a living to pay for the bills, to put the food on the table. But we're in a situation where, if we had governed and, managed humanity and culture correctly throughout these last 10 to 15,000 years, we'd be in a position where, even Tesla just a couple hundred years ago, or not even, was, trying to give free energy to everybody. There's been some very dramatic shifts towards, everybody having to hold their own in order for an elite few to not have to do that. And power begets power. So the people in power are the first ones who can pay to keep themselves back in there. And you know what I mean? So it's a bad cycle that we've allowed to happen. And as an American, it's this weird thing where you're not supposed to bitch about it because you're in a rich country, but we're rich in different things. We're rich in water and electricity and food, and we waste all those things. So just be mindful, I think, is the key, because the more you think about those things, the less you end up doing them. Stupid fly. My cats are flipping out. Anyway, that's what I fucking do for a living. I support the goddamn system. What do I want to do for a living? Not that. I always say I kind of do what I want to do, just not for a living yet. I do this show. I just don't do it for a living yet. I just joined a band, singing in a band. That's what I've always wanted to do too. And I'm doing that. I'm just not doing it for a living. I grow pot. I'm just not growing it for a living. I grow mushrooms. So all those things would be great to expand upon and become what I do for a living. And I started with this show because that's probably what I do first. Probably the band. Who doesn't want to be a fucking rock star? But then the show, because who doesn't want to be a fucking whatever star? Now I know what today's stars are considered other than fucking lame. So I don't know. It is what it is. Other than that, I'm doing pretty much what I want to do. And delivering is okay because you're in your car, and I've realized that being by myself is important. I wish I worked at a place that fucking kept me in my car more instead of fucking inside fucking not delivering when I'm a delivery driver. So there's a gripe about my job. I was trying to get the fuck out of here and move up to the mountains and look for a job in the mountains, this and that, but fuck, man, everything's becoming harder and harder. So, Devin, what up? What up, yo? Devin, because you joined us, just because you joined us, we'll spin the wheel of dabs and get a dab going. Only because you joined us, though. You know, this Wedding Crasher has like this weird sweet taste, and it is that cakey taste, so I'll give it that. It's a really sweet smoke. I don't know how to describe it. It's an interesting sweet on the way in, stay sweet on the way out where you taste it. Like on the way in, it tastes like you're smoking like it's like a sugary, bready, cakey taste. It's kind of cool. This bud, so I bought these buds from Stellar Dispensary, and they give you member pricing the first time you're in. So I got some decent buds, like they're silver and gold. No, they're silver, so more than I would normally get. And one thing I've noticed is, and this is something I've been thinking more about, but each bud is different, and it probably came off of different plants. And I know from personal experience where I'm like, that plant's rocking, that plant's okay, she's showing off, look at her, that type of thing. And then you smoke it and you're like, yeah, that was the good one, that was the okay one, and they know that when they spare out. But that being said, I smoked one bud and I'm like coughing and choking. I'm like, that fucking shit's harsh. This bud, one thing I try to do is smoke one bud at a time, because I'll throw 5 buds in there and grind it up, and I think you get a mix of it. I've been trying to kind of, if there's a big bud enough for a joint, that's what I tried to do, I believe, or like 2 maybe on this one. I'm like, yeah, that actually tastes good. It's weird how it fucking unprecise it can be. But anyway, and right now I have a room with 3 or 4 different kinds in it, and that's why like one's huge, one's small and bushy, I'm like, I hate doing that, because this always happens where everything's uneven and you're topping one and one's barely getting up. And I don't know. Any old who. What do we get? This is not a chong. It's not a chong. Let's grab it. All right. Go over here. Break anything. There we go. And fill it with some water, because that's smart enough to actually dump the water if you want. All right. Let's shoot to the side for just a moment. Yeah, that's actually tasted pretty good, that Wedding Crasher. So, but yeah, things have been good. Mostly been trying to focus on my band. Anybody following me on Instagram or anything like that has seen that I joined a band, Condemned to Burn. So if you want to do me a huge favor, go to Instagram and look up Condemned to Burn. And if you're unsure if it's the right one, it'll have a picture of me if you go through the posts saying, that I've joined. And give them a like. And yeah. And if you're in Denver for September 18th, Saturday night, I believe, I'll be at the Trailside Saloon. So it's a little bar doing a little show. First show for them, for us together anyway, with this lineup. So yeah, that would be awesome too. And you get to meet me. And I'm bringing mad joints, so you get to smoke weed with me. So if you've ever wanted to do that and you're in Denver or Colorado in any way, shape, or form, get your ass down there. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. All right. Let's, where's the torch? Ziggy, did I not bring the torch? Let's grab that torch. All right. Ziggy, you can, as I say, entertain. I was going to get him up here, but the last thing I need is him up here while I'm trying to light the torch up. All right. I definitely need new ones of both of these. I need another one of these so I'm not taking it back and forth. They have these cool, I think it's called Dab Tech ones. And I had this idea myself, and I still have I have ideas still on my own personal variant of this. But they have little temp guns that permanently sit up like this, and you can some looked pretty tall too, but anyway, so I'm like, you need a pretty big bong, or you'd have to have it like that hanging off, which would work too. Anyway, so they have those, and it'll tell you what you're running at, so you can do. I like knowing exactly what temperature I'm dabbing at. That was one of the first things when I got serious about dabbing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna spend some money and do this. That was huge. I need a new one of these too, because the goddamn ignition's out. So, cheers, everybody. Turn that down. Hey, hey, hey. Don't you attack his tail. Even though it's a tempting toy. Come on. There. Definitely need a new torch. Especially for someone who fucking does this shit all the time. All right. Well, I hope everyone's got a good Saturday night going. I know shit's kind of crazy. It's in this weird spot where I knew it would end up being where shit's open, but either it shouldn't be or it should or this and that. But you can always chill here. It's always safe. The bongs are always cleaned. No chance of anything. Yeah. Oh, that's the end of that one. Let's see if we got warm enough. We are dabbing upon. What are we dabbing upon? Oh, glad it's closed before I drop it all over the place. We are dabbing upon some guava sundae, which is guavalicious. Whoa, 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 whoa. Who didn't see that coming, Zig? Here, come on. Get your ass over here. Come on. You're trying to set yourself on fire. Fucking everyone's burning themselves these days. My bass player, the bass player, he's not my bass player. The bass player for Condemned to Burn, his name's Keel. I haven't called him Keel because his name's not Keel. But he fucking oil burned the shit out of himself. I think it was his left arm, yeah. Left? Yeah. And damn, his roommate left some oil boiling. He's a trooper, though. He wrapped that shit up himself and these nasty ass huge blisters. He's like the second or third dude I've known who's just been like, fuck it, I'm gonna rock it. And each one of them, I've burned myself a little bit, dude. I know how bad that shit hurts for days. Oh, watch me fucking turn up the last thing. All right, Zig. Perfect. Good enough, right? Cheers, everybody. Oh, Ziggy. Must you? He must. Gotta relight that one because I got a little distracted. There's a little bit of a cat butt in my way. Nothing new there. All right. See if I can do this all on my lap with a cat. I have a whole table for this shit, and I'm over here doing it. Alright, Zig, are you happy that you took up my whole fucking table? You fucking cat. Cat bastard. Yes. I tried to get you on my lap here. Come on. There we go. Whoa! Whoa. There it was. Found it. It was right there. Woo! 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 Good stuff, Ziggy. Good stuff. All right, let's get that back lit up. But hopefully all is well with you. You've been keeping your minds occupied. I know there's plenty of crazy shit to think about these days. I know it's one thing to the next with me, so it's a crazy universe. And the fact that we're all connecting right now is a pretty good sign, I think. That things are kind of going all right. There's still some good shit going on. We just have to make it for ourselves. That kind of sucks. I know I've officially passed the point when my father had me, you know. He was younger than I am when he had me. And I'm like, you know, at no point in my life was I ever super, like, thrilled with how the world was going and ready. But, you know, I forgot, back when we were born, there was a lot more hope and optimism going on, at least when I was born. Like, it's a little bit crazy. I remember being considered a pretty pessimistic person back when I was young and pretty, I don't know, into extremer things, you know. And nowadays, you know, everything I was into when I was young, it's not that extreme. Everything has gotten more extreme. The violence has gotten more violence. The sexual content has gotten far more sexual. I don't know. It's just there was a lot more hope when we, you know, no matter when you were born, if you're watching this and understanding what I'm saying, chances are years ago there was a lot more hope, I guess, and that's kind of fading away into kind of what we're seeing right now, where it's like kind of angsty all the time. And there's a lot of heads butting into each other. I feel like a lot of people weren't prepared or aren't prepared for shit to go down, and it's like, you know, I don't know. It's a luxury to live in a place and in a time where you don't have to worry about, you know, someone coming and beheading you or something along those lines quite frequently, you know, or having just enough to survive and not being able to think about much else. We're in the very few time, you know, we are allowed to think like kings, you know. Back in the day, the only people who could sit here and wax philosophically with others of like-minded, literate individuals who have basically any anything they want at their command to a point, and definitely by their standards. We live the life of kings, and rather than sitting there and using these tools to expand and talk with each other and say, what the fuck is going on? Why is it fucked up for you? Is it fucked up for you? Is everything as weird for you as it is for me? Is it always just this constant barrage of fucking bizarre shit, you know? And I don't know. I feel like a lot of us squander that and are afraid to talk to each other and connect with each other. I know that sometimes I don't like I'm not very active on my personal Facebook account, even though I look at it quite often. I use it as like a source of entertainment. But for the most part, the biggest reason I don't post on there is because I don't want to post things that people don't like and are boring or offended by, and then they don't want to see it. And when I have something important to post and say, they won't see it. Like the show I have coming up here. I feel like if I had constantly posted, this is what I fucking ate today, and look at my cat, look at my cat, so cute. They probably wouldn't mind that one. They love Ziggy. Everyone loves Ziggy. In fact, I don't post enough of Ziggy. But the point is, I feel like I would turn off people, and then when I say, hey, I got something important, would you help support me in this? They won't be there. And that's a weird way to think about something that's meant to get you closer to your friends and family, and then fans in that instance. So I'm like, I feel like, again, it's it changes the dynamics. You know what I mean? We no longer, we are literally allowed to put filters on our pictures, but we also put filters on ourselves. We use spell check to make a post. We read it 3 times. We send it out. And that's if you have a brain. Most people don't do those things and just fucking splurt out pure garbage. I try to take my time and think about shit on what it is because, if everyone makes you feel like those things are so important and they're actually like a physical thing, that's how you look, is how you look online. That's, your avatar, your picture of you online is seen more than your reality ever. I have 4,000, just about 5,000 subscribers. I have 300,000 views. I've commented to tens of thousands of people. You'll never meet that many fucking people in your life. I won't ever meet that many. I have lucky if I have 5 friends at any given time during my life. You know what I mean? True friends. Ziggy, not included. So, it's just a weird thing. When you have these huge numbers and expectations put on you, and they're bigger than anything that most people accomplish. And I'm like, again, it just changes the dynamics of how you present yourself and how you look at yourself, how you filter yourself. I'm not pro or anti PC. I'm at this weird point where, isn't it true freedom to be PC sometimes and not PC other times? Do it when it's right. Don't do it when it's wrong. Shouldn't you be objective to every situation, not just say yes or no? But that's hard to do. It's hard to play middle ground on the Jedi game. You know what I mean? Either you're going Sith or you're going Jedi. If not, there aren't many people who can play that middle ground, and it's hard to be objective and see things from both ends. And I think that's another thing that we just have given up on. It's more about expressing a point of view and trying to change someone else's mind than being I choose not to choose sides very much. I think as soon as you say that you believe someone or something, you denounce your ability to do its polar opposite, which is to believe or denounce that thing. Keep yourself open, keep your mind open. Yeah. Anyway, let's spin that wheel of dabs. Ah, 7 of 10. We meet again. Ah, swear every time at the end of this, I just have this thing covered in bombs. It's hilarious. For having a bunch of cats and a dog and a whole bunch of glass and electronics and everything everywhere, I am so lucky to have the animals that I do. They're super chill. Even though Ziggy tried to just set himself on fire with the torch a minute ago, he's still pretty good about it. The fact that I'm not just constantly home and I'm like, and look at all this crap I just have everywhere. They, one time up there and it would be fucked. But I've been thinking about getting a kitten a lot, which I know is kind of funny, but because I have so many goddamn cats. But even though you only see 2 of them, I have 3 more. Um, just because Ziggy's quite a bit older and Panda's quite a bit younger. She loves him so much. And it's just, I feel like it would be nice to have a buddy for her constantly and someone that she can get used to and acquainted with the 3 of them. And if anything ever did happen to Ziggy, and Ziggy's also a dick and won't play with her. He's old, He's so be good to acquaint her with someone newer and young and being able to really have that bond. So, Young, are you religious? With all that shit you just said, I know for sure you're spiritual and open minded. Uh, you know, I've had my moments of, I'm definitely not religious. And I've always told the people around me, thank your fucking lucky stars, I'm not fucking religious. Because if I was, I would be the most religious person you know? I know my girlfriend has some pretty profound and amazing stories about tons of shit. And I always tell her, I'm like, thank God, if that was me, I'm on shows and shit. All I could do is, this would be me just preaching, or if I was religious, I'd take that shit 100% serious. I wouldn't be my family was Catholic for the most part. My grandma's and my mom for sure was raised Catholic, and I wouldn't be one of those cafeteria Catholics that pick and choose. I would take it very literal. I just haven't found anything that has drawn to me to believe in that. I used to be very atheist, especially. I feel like I wasn't atheist until bad things started happening in my life, and people kept saying, "Well, go to God, go to church or some shit." And I'm like, okay, so is this my fault because I didn't? Yeah, I mean, I then you kind of get this weird slap in the face, and when you realize that when superstitions of all types, whether it's tooth fairy, whether it's this, whether it's that, which I'm sure they have some some weird validity in their own right for being an imagination and a creation, and they have an effect on the real world. Yeah, I get it, but at the end of the day, when you realize that you don't see them and touch them in the way you think that they should interact with you, it becomes a letdown. And religion can be the biggest one because that's your fucking that's the one that you're told to take the most serious. So definitely, I was never raised religious, but when I finally was like, okay, religion is a bad thing, or at least that's how I felt, I was very, I feel like I've seen this a lot. When this first happens, you're out to just attack everybody who's religious, and you want to just make I don't even know what the exact goal is, if it's to convert other people or just make other people feel shitty or make them, feel silly, at least feel silly, look at you in that dress, wearing that fucking hat with that incense with a bunch of people who don't fucking like each other, but they have to hang out with each other. And it's like you should feel silly. And I'm like, yeah, but nowadays I'm more agnostic in the sense that I'm very, very open. I know that there is more to this world than what we see. There's not a type of science that doesn't acknowledge that. And I don't think the mark of science, the stamp of validity, isn't science, even though that's what most people reach towards. It's not. And that's not what science should be used at. Science is great for making you know, cars and bombs and TVs, and it can connect or it can kill. That's usually its two options with technology. Is it going to connect or is it going to kill? Every now and then, or that weird yin yang thing where we don't know. That's why it's like, is it going to be technology that fucking fixes this shit? Or are we going to build a machine that takes all the pollution out and cleans the water and destroys the plastic and gets rid of the nuclear waste and fixes the hole in the ozone? And, is it a machine that'll do that? Or is it Terminator 2 in this bitch? Are we going to be fucking shot with fucking lasers? Or are we going to be fucking using lasers to do fucking, neurotechnology, fucking surgery and shit like that? I mean, I don't know. It's still open. And I don't remember. What's that law where everything doubles every few years or some shit? Technology becomes cheaper and smaller and faster or some shit like that. I forget when that's supposed to break down, but I haven't heard anybody talk about that in a while. And I'm like, yeah, well, at some point, if that's true, I mean, I don't know, man. Technology is a weird thing. And I feel like the key is trying to balance it with moralities and empathy, including some type of fucking heart or soul, that part of our mind that we use to express positive feelings towards other people, I guess you could also call it. That should be incorporated with what we do, technologically speaking. But again, that kind of brings us back to what I was saying earlier, where like we've kind of chose this weird path where we chose a more, as soon as financial greediness came into the picture, we worshipped that. So regardless of what you are, Christian, Jewish, Buddha, Buddhist, I should say, we all have to play the game, and the game is worship, money, pretty much. What you have. Honestly, a lot of people, the only cult leaders and the only religious people who start new sects and shit like that, they're already financially quite wealthy. It's very rare that they go off sheer charisma. And if that's the case, they are wealthy. They're wealthy in, the people and the thing. They're wealthy in other ways. So it's just about that. Am I religious? No, not really. Although I've thought about joining the Church of Cannabis, because that's a real thing. I think you could, I don't know, maybe get Sundays off or something. Although I don't need Sundays off. I can't afford it. All right. So can't quite see it. Oh, something over. It's right me off. Can't see this one. I got another case here. You finally, with this new camera, see, when you spin it just fast enough, it becomes a tesseract. All right. Anyway, I gotta change that water. Who knows how long that water's been in there? At least a week. So dump that. Be right back. Take a dab. See where that goes. All right. So time is 8:44. So normally I would have hoped to have been on for a while by now, but it's been a late start because I've been doing shit. Like I said, I have to still do shit tonight. Tonight's a big night for me, so I've been busy every single night. So it was supposed to happen like a week ago, but it just hasn't. I have to put my clones that I cut a few weeks ago. They're way overdue. I should have put them in already because they're hitting the ceiling of that fucking little grow thing, terrarium. The little clone dome, I like to call them. That thing, the clones are way ready to go into their full deep water culture growing thing, which I just have a lot of work to do in there, filling up water, yada yada. I also have mushrooms in the pressure cooker. I have the substrate already. I'm just doing old school PF tech tonight, or BRF tech. BRF tech. Just some brown rice flour cakes, which are actually really good for growing oysters and psychedelic mushrooms as well. And I have what did I end up doing? Like, I got a pressure cooker that can fit a lot of those half pint little guys. So I got a whole shitload of those to do. I also, when I grow mushrooms, I always try to take a spore print from as many good-looking mushrooms as I can. So that's how I'm inoculating the mushrooms tonight. Is I had spore prints from my last grows. I take the spore print. By getting a spore print, you just cut off the cap of a mushroom while it's still fresh. Put it face down so this, yeah. You put it face down so that the gills of the mushroom are facing downward, and then usually I put just a drop of water on the top. For some reason, that really makes it want to drop spores, and then it'll drop all these spores. It's a little spore print. That's what I use to inoculate the next batch that I'm going to be growing. That's how they grow naturally. You know, they'll drop those spores. They get dispersed everywhere throughout the forest or wherever they happen to be growing, your lawn. So I'm just trying to help do that. There is a process to it. You have to do it as clean and sterile as possible. So you clean off that tin foil. That's what I use to have the spores land on. I clean it off as best I can with rubbing alcohol. I clean off the area with alcohol. I set it down, and then I cover that with like a little Tupperware that I've cleaned with alcohol, and I've wet dried off. And then come back the next day, take the spore print, immediately fold it up with clean hands, and I put that in a Tupperware, put that in the fridge, and then those spores can last years. I don't know exactly how long, but they have improper, like if you were super good at it and were vacuum sealing it, or I don't know exactly how they do it. I've seen it, just can't remember how they do it. There's a way that they have of preserving it, because Paul Statman's collection of mushroom spores was in the thousands for sure. And there's ways of you put it in between pieces of gel or some shit like that. I forget what it was. It's eluding me at the time, but he has a really cool way of preserving these things and then putting them in a freezer and then putting them underground, and they're in these bunkers and shit, and they'll last who knows how long. Kind of like seeds are done. I know there's great seed banks around the world in case shit happens, that we have those seeds. Anyway, tonight I'm taking those spore prints. So it's just a piece of paper, in this case, a piece of foil with some spores on it. And I'm going to be going into the clean room. And then I have just a little butter knife, just like a normal butter knife. And then, I'll be in gloves. I'll be in my mushroom suit, which you might have seen me in once or twice. It's a onesie that's all psychedelic, but it's perfect for covering up my hair and all my, I try to wash and take a shower. So I'm going to do this, take a shower, then I'm going to inoculate the mushrooms. And so I'll take a shower, put on that clean suit that I have. It's a onesie, but it works good. Go in there. I'm going to scrape off the spore prints into some clean water So I got to clean out these 2 little shot glasses, fill them with water, and then use that water to fill up spore prints. So I scrape the spores in there, mix it around really good, and then I have syringes. You fill up the syringes with that water mixed with the spore prints, and that will be used to inoculate. Okay, I thought she was going to jump up here. You use that to inoculate the brown rice flour cakes that I'm making. Again, brown rice flour cakes are kind of a beginner's tech. They're this, they're that, but you know what? Like I've gotten some crazy results from them. I've gotten even better results from doing the harder methods, but they're harder and more expensive. So using cocoa core and shit like that as a substrate, giant things of that are great. It's just really, I need to find a better way because most of mine end up getting contaminated, which sucks because at that point I've already put in so much work, like what I'm doing tonight, to have it thrown away. I mean, I couldn't tell you the countless amount of hours I've thrown away at that shit. I'm trying to hurry and do this before it cools down. Let's see if I pulled it off. Just barely. Rolled a fucked up joint out of it at least. Whatever. Now, where are we at? It took too long. That's all right. Doesn't mean much. All right, everybody. Let's get a bowl going. And cheers. Oh, 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 Ziggy. Oh, Ziggy. Oh, oh, whoo. Yep, that one worked. Woo. Woo. Cheers, everybody. Damn. Clear that out. All right. Whew. I'll put some cheese in your whiz. I don't know what that means. Oh. Where's that cleaning cloth? Cloth for cleaning, Ziggy. All right. Wow. Whew. That was something. Whew. Clear that out. 7 of 10, 7 of 9, 7 of 10. That's what it is. Can't even think straight. 7 of 10. Thank you much. The job is done here. Whew. Oh, Ziggy. Did you see that? Did you see that, Ziggy? Oh. All right. At least you're chilling on my lap. Oh, not on the table anymore. All right. Whew. Holy crap. Hooked on Phonics. Hey, from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico tonight. What was I gonna say? Is Truth or Consequences a place in New Mexico, like a town or some shit? Because I have never heard of that. It sounds like a game show. You're on Truth or Consequences. You tell the truth, or there'll be consequences. I don't like this game. Mr. Granger says, all right, Susan SOD. Ziggy is your cat's name. It is. Ziggy Stardust. And he's 17 years old, so it was before it was cool. to name things after. No, I've actually known a dog named Ziggy because they have the one eye a lot, the one blue eye. At least the Ziggy dog I know. It's actually someone I deliver to. Is a dog. All right, Hooked on Phonics. Yes, that's the name of the town. A serial killer I read about is from here. Oh, lovely. And of course, there's a serial killer from Truth or Consequences, the horrible game show. Truth or Consequences. Cheers, everybody. Well, thanks for joining me. Susan, yeah, my sister's got a dog with a blue eye and a brown eye, right? So, and Ziggy Stardust is named after the character that Dave Bowie made. For those who don't know, he's pretty popular, so I hope most people know. If not, go find out about David Bowie. He's great. I think there is a movie coming out or something that looks terrible. Hooked on Phonics. Those dogs are cool. I've always been super, I'm not going to lie, this has been a thing with people too. I'm super big on eyes. Like, fucking, like, blue eyes are just, not having blue eyes. I've always been partial to them, especially I had a family that had, half my family had them. So I'm like, and really like, damn blue eyes. And I'm like, that's one of them. No, they had really blue eyes. And I always felt kind of like, I'm like, oh man, I get blue eyes. My cats, though, got those crazy green eyes. Like, I don't know, all cats have pretty sick eyes. I'll give them that. But dogs with the blue eyes are very fucking, they stand out hardcore. The Huskies are really nice with the blue eyes. I see a lot of dogs with one blue and one brown. So I bet you there's a shitload of Ziggy Stardust dogs, especially since it's been out since those dots. It's been, Ziggy Stardust is from the 70s. So how many years have you had to fucking have? How many dogs have there been, unfortunately, huh? Susan, yeah, I think almost everybody likes blue and green eyes. And, I've gotten a lot of people who compliment me on my eyes. That's the one, like, compliment from girls that I've ever really gotten for the most part. Now it'll be probably the hair, but probably because I don't get them. But the point is it's the eyes. They're like, oh, your eyes are cool. I'm like, yeah, they're just brown, And apparently light brown is pretty rare, and it's like, no, they're either like black and dark or they're blue. And green eyes are, as soon as I find a girl with green eyes, I can rule the world like Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China. So green eyes, purple eyes. I know Elizabeth Taylor supposedly had purple eyes. I've seen the pictures, but I haven't really noticed that they were purple. My dad had creepy blue eyes. My grandma's got that same intense blue eyes, although she had 2 cataract surgeries. 3, because one eye twice. And they paled, kind of. It's weird. So they went from like a dark, I don't know, they just kind of changed color. So, I don't know. Eyes are an interesting thing. But they are what they are. Hooked on Phonics. I have a friend that has blue eyes, but they have a purple shade to them. I've seen some cool eyes. Apparently, like I said, I know the possibility of all that shit was definitely in my family, that I could have popped out with something. But I feel like that darker eyes, my mom has like black pretty much, whatever that is. So, Susan, I know people with yellow eyes. Yep. That's kind of crazy. Like yellow in the eyes, or like their eye, like where it's supposed to be white is yellow. Because that, I think, is a sign of a disease. Isn't it? I don't think that's good. Or you could tattoo those bitches like they do in prison. I think now it's a little more popular. You ever seen that shit when they tattoo a fucking eyeball, your eyeball? That's hardcore. I'm really glad that I have, it's good that I didn't get like too if I was super, if I didn't have to worry about money, is what I'm trying to say. If I was loaded or famous or something at a young age, I probably would have done a lot of crazy shit. So, including like eyeball tattoos and tongue splitting and the whole nine. I'm really glad I avoided that in a lot of ways. But obviously I don't, because it's in me somewhere. Hooked on Phonics. They told me when I had my baby that we had a 50-50 chance of blue eyes, but they were brown. See? And that's what I got. I don't know if it was 50-50. I don't know what the chances were when I was born, because I was born forever. You say that, but time's a weird thing. Anyway, it is 9:01. We're gonna smoke the rest of this joint. So whatever we got to talk about, we have thus long to do so. Susan, yeah, but no, like she literally has yellow irises with like a little bit of blue, which is kind of cool. That's cool. You should get a good picture of it and fucking go on Instagram with that shit. Blow it up. Speaking of, I think I was talking about social images earlier. I don't know. Eyes are very interesting things. They're kind of like the jewels that we hold on to, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like the rest of the body is pretty, it's not. I'm really into iridescence and, colors, bright lights, and things that, everybody kind of is a little bit. But I mean, like, I like that. I think that's what ties me to smoking pot, doing hallucinogenics, is it can really make those things pop out and explode at you. And like, I'm like, that's what I want. And I feel like the eyes, are what we have that reflect and shine and like can do a lot. And I've seen the power of stares, the looks that you can give people give you fucking chills, or they can bring you in and push you away. And that's a powerful thing. So, Sandy, eyes are the picture to the soul. Wait, window to the soul. There you go. Right? I hope I got that right. I don't know. I've always had that feeling. I've had a lot of almost every single important person in my life. And I hate to say this, that I like chose as like either a friend or a partner or whatever. That's the popular way to say it, a girlfriend. Yeah, high eyes are beautiful. High eyes you can barely see though. But they've all a lot of people have always had blue eyes, and that's always been kind of a thing that I've kind of liked, or at least that's just how it's ended up happening. Whatever. I also don't think it's that big of a deal, the color, so much as you find the beauty in them. I really like I said, the variance is nice. Sandy, High Venom and Shatter Friends. I like that. All right, Sandy, because it's Sandy, we're gonna spin that wheel of dab, and that dab's for you. We're also trying to put it in. I got a lot of shit going on tonight, so let's fucking do it. Let's do it right now. Fuck it. That's what I say. Another Chong Bong, it looks like to me from there. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Hooked on Fox says, hi, it's Gypsy. Yes, Gypsy at one point in time did it. Oh, sorry if I smoked you out there, buddy. Here. I just threw so many fucking treats everywhere. All right. Yes, Peppermint Gypsy went from Peppermint Gypsy to Hooked on Phonics. So she went from one offensive name to another. No, I'm just joking. I know Gypsy's initially was kind of a word that was offensive, I believe. Is kind of like saying hobo or some shit like that. We're like, yeah, we don't really do that anymore. But I think I've always thought of Gypsy in a cool way because I like fucking the Hollywood aesthetic of it and what I've seen of it, which is mostly in movies, with the cool caravans and the chicks with the brightly colored dresses and the bandanas and the Brad Pitt fighting people. He was a gypsy, right? Yeah. But my grandma, she talks about gypsies, and she's of that age where gypsy is an insult, and it means those homeless people that you don't trust and you don't like, and they set up camp. You know what I mean? Which is pretty much like our homeless people now. Because back in the day, they just had kick-ass fucking tents on wheels. So they knew it a little bit better. Sandy, hi Gypsy, didn't recognize you at first. That's cool. It's been a minute though. How long have you been in phonics? You've been hooked on phonics for a while. But I'd say two of my best chatter friends right there. Yeah. And then what I missed there? Susan says, yeah, me too. And Sandy says, woo-hoo. That rhymes unintentionally. All right. Let's be warm. Ooh, it's still smoking though. Something's burning in there. Let's finish that off. All right. Hooked on Phonics. I haven't been on in a minute. It's been a busy summer. Yeah, no shit. No shit. Well, now you're in Truth or Consequence. So, why would a town be named Truth or Consequence? That's an interesting town name. Sorry, she's playing with something on the floor. I don't know if you're getting in trouble. Quit screwing around so much. Anyway, yeah, it has been a busy summer, and I just have had ups and downs like crazy. It's just weird. Hooked on Phonics. We're driving back from California and just stopped here in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico for the night, which is, like I said, interesting name, interesting place. Good for you. Good for you. Don't know why I said that weird. All right, so let us get a dab ready. Maybe I won't have to reheat it this time. Like I said, if you have a bowl, a joint, a dab pen, one of those little cartridge things, now's the time. Sandy Trunks. Sandy. I'm usually kind of baked during Shatterdaze, so I apologize for not remembering your new handle, Gypsy. I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, it's been a minute though, right? Gypsy was a little easier to remember, but the Hooked on Phonics thing is a pretty good play on words. So especially because her middle name is Fawn, so Phonics. I dig it. I think it's smart. She's clever. She can do the literary stuff. Cheers. Here's to everybody. Thank you so much. I mean, fucking everybody, except for that one. You know. Woo! Oh, I was just gonna say. Hooked on Fonts after stopping in Hatch, New Mexico for some chilies, which is cool. Yeah, I love road trips. I really do. I usually like it when I'm driving personally, but I still like them. I could do that without. I just sometimes get kind of fucking like it's hard to sleep, and I get kind of like I don't know. That's the hardest part with it is I can't sleep, so I might as well be driving as much as possible. And then when I'm driving, I don't get motion sickness too bad. When I'm in the front seat, I don't get it too bad. But if I'm in the back seat or if I'm fucking like looking down at my phone or anything like that, I instantly start feeling like crap. So the best thing to do is just get me in the driver's seat. And I love road trips. They're fun. It's a cool way to see the country. I mean, flying. I hate flying. Let's just say that. Susan. Yup. Yup. But yeah, road trips are dope. I've always said I wished I would have already seen the whole country many times over, even though it'd only be in a car and just kind of driving through and stopping by little gas stations here and there. You know, that's pretty much the life on the road of a small touring van. But I figured I would have done that a bunch of times. But it's never too late. And also, dreams change. This fucking last few years have really changed how the world's gonna end up. So I hope for the best, though. But yeah. Whew. Let's pull one more out of this guy. All right. Whew. Oh, that last one. Wow. Gotta quit fucking shredding my lungs to fucking holy hell and back. I probably won't. I'm just saying I should. That's why I'm in a metal. I can't talk. That's why I'm in a metal band and not some fucking, I don't do a lot of clean vocals, to be 100% honest. Not that it's impossible, and I've been told that I can do them, even if I'm pretty harsh of a critic on myself. For the most part, metal music is just what I like to do. It's what I listen to. It's what I like. It's the best. And also, I've shredded my fucking throat to the point where singing in any other fashion just isn't probably a good idea for me. Susan, that sounds good. Thank you very much. I was reading this thing, or what was I watching? I was watching something that was mentioning about how music is about shamanistic drumming. And I kind of wasn't. I just started it, and it was something I wanted to watch, but I ended up kind of reading the comments, and then having no time. So I was listening to it. But anyway, it was just talking about how music kind of connects you spiritually and all these things. And I've also read in previous things that music can stimulate every part of your mind. You know what I mean? It's you're thinking music is a timing, it's an art, it's a mathematical science in a way, it can be. And anyway, I've heard that it's like for Alzheimer's and shit like that, a really great thing to do, yada yada. But they were saying is pretty much this person was saying that that when they concentrate and they really zone out playing, that they have kind of an out of body experience, and they were very spiritual about it. I forget how they were kind of talking about it, but they were like, I enter that whatever realm, that fifth realm of my chakra opening and expanding and shit like that. And they're like, sometimes I'll see myself like from across the room, like literally have that out of body experience, which is really weird because in this room, it was when I was having really bad anxiety. I was constantly, any little bit of pot was making me feel like shit. So I was having like panic attacks. But I remember distinctly one of the big problems I was having, I would smoke pot and have like out of body experience type thing, and I did not like it. I'm not good at it, and this is again, I think it connects why I'm not a big person who likes to hallucinate, and it's probably also connected why I have motion sickness. These are all things that they're all signs that I don't like losing control. And they're all, my body physically doesn't like it, and I don't know. I was in here once, and I was really fucked up when I was going through this bad time. And it was mostly from dabbing, to be 100% honest. Dabbing incorrectly made me, I believe, was a big part of it. I'm sure you could get psychological with it and bring 100 million reasons why this was happening. But I was having panic attacks even with one hit of pot. This one night, I took one hit of pot. I'm very proud to be able to smoke pot again like this because of like shit like this. Took one hit of pot. I was sitting over there, which was a weird spot. I don't even remember why I was sitting over there, like on the floor or something. And I was playing, and I was just fucking around. And I was leaving my body. I started being able to see over my own shoulder, the back of my head. I was at the ceiling, looking down at myself, playing music. I was playing pretty good, which again, it makes it feel like you activate this weird spot, which also I think that pot and hallucinogenics are just the catalyst. They speed it up, but they don't really change the outcome. You know what I mean? They keep things pretty pure. They can, you know what I mean? Sometimes. But yeah, I was very, very sober in the sense that I took one hit of pot, and I'm not a lightweight usually. I was at this point. But I'm seeing myself playing music from the ceiling, and I got that same fear that I get whenever all these things happen. It's like falling off a cliff terror where, you grab onto anything, and I'm like, I don't like this. And that's why, again, hallucinogenics, for being on a flight that you can't stop or get off of, these type of things, my body doesn't react well. And I panicked and I hated it, and I didn't smoke pot for a long time. It was a rough year because of that shit. John, Bob Marley is the cure for weed paranoia. And this wasn't paranoia, although I was getting that often. And you're not wrong in the sense that just surrounding yourself by good music, Bob Marley. Whose is it? I think it might have been Willie Nelson who kind of got popular or something. But chewing on peppercorns, something about that. There's a neurological response that they've linked to it. yada yada. It's got to be like little peppercorns when you chew on them. Mickey D, hey bro, and Susan, yep. Yeah. Mickey D, sorry I got preoccupied. My upstairs neighbor's shower started leaking into my shower. That sounds fucked. That's never good. You don't want that. Mickey D had to call the fucking maintenance dude. No shit. Fuck that. So shit like that's fucked. That's why I don't like living in apartments. I believe it was Jeffrey Dahmer. He was getting away with so many murders. I remember, like they went to his house and everything was fine. It smelled funny. They left. But the big reason they came was because everyone was complaining about, eventually it was like the water. Somehow he had stuffed bodies in a place where fucking like contaminated the water for his whole fucking apartment or some shit like that. Wasn't that the case? Fuck, I forget. It was something along those lines. And like, it's like, yeah, fucking, he was putting it down the drain somehow. It backed up the drain. It was coming up out of the sink somehow. He's dissolving a lot of shit. And and I'm like, okay, you put a lot of faith in humanity living in apartments, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? You know, I'm thinking of a different serial killer. Was it? Was it just the smell that kept bringing people back to Dahmer? Anyway, it's probably good. I don't remember. I haven't brushed up on my serial killers in a while, but you're in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. So it's let's just say it's better to be the killer than the killee. Yeah. Anyway, so gotta be careful there. All right. Well, did I break it? Oh no, that's not right. Oh shit, Sandy. I learned recently. I think it was on Frenchy Cannoli's YouTube channel that if you get too high from eating edibles, you can calm down by putting CBD oil under your tongue, which that's some valuable fucking information right there. um, I have some dabbable CBD isolate, and I have a video coming out. And when I first took it, it wasn't too bad. But the more I've had it, and the more I've had for like a couple of weeks, I'm like, oh man, this shit's really fucking harsh and kind of gross. But it'd be not. You can do capsules of it. CBD should help. I was gonna say, Tony, CBD helps level out the THC. I thought. I mean, it's in there for a reason. Hooked on Phonics. I'm where the toy box killer was. Sounds lovely. I read that book when I was with my bro in the hospital a bunch of years ago. That's horrible. Hey, Mickey D. I wonder if you butt chug CBD will cure your hemorrhoids. It's funny, but probably I don't know if you should butt chug this stuff. Butt chugging. I thought butt chugging was how you got the hemorrhoid. No, Tony, cat, yes. It's cat. Speaking of cat butt. Anyway. No, what you call it? CBD probably would be good for fucking that shit. I have been going to the doctor a lot. I know was just talking about this, but CJ Panic. Hey bro, it's Aaron. Watching from my girlfriend my girlfriend's phone. What's good, broskies? Been watching since the stream started on the TV though. Well, hey dude. Hey and howdy. Aaron, Aaron. I think I know a personal Aaron. Are you Aaron I know personally? No, just checking. I haven't talked to an Aaron in a long time. And then Sandy, Mickey D. Yeah, Mickey D's gift for next week, right? Maybe we'll go skating next week. Although I'm really glad we didn't go skating this week because I had the worst sleep ever last night. I got home late from band practice and fucking the cats would I just couldn't sleep. I just like every time I fell asleep, the cats would scream or noise would happen. Then my neighbor, I like my neighbor so much. He's such a nice guy, but he's literally hitting the side of a fucking cement truck with a sledgehammer to like clean out that shit or whatever at like fucking like 7 a.m. And I'm like, dude, I just have had the worst sleep last night. So I'm so glad we didn't go skating this morning. I would have loved to. It couldn't happen. Next week, definitely. I already got the sitter lined up. And I don't want you to just get sitters if I'll talk to you more about it. I feel guilty that, you should make sure I don't want to get in the way, like, you hanging out with your kid. So, but skating's big, huh? CJ Panic. I keep wanting to say DJ Panic. About to rip a fatty for you, broski. Got some Medusa. I like the name. I haven't heard that one. Mixed with some orange creamsicle out of my sauce bottle. Cheers. Cheers indeed. I'm smoking this Wedding Crasher, which is actually pretty nice. All right. So, CBD. That was what we were talking about. It's good, expensive. If I had enough, I would take it. I'd take the pills. I'd drink the drinks. I'd fucking use the oils. I'd fucking you name it. That's just costly. That guy. Cheers. Cheers indeed. Cheers to everybody. I think I got one more dab in me, and then we're going to call it a night. I'm already on way longer than I wanted to be off by 8, but I didn't even start till 8. I have mushrooms, man. I'm growing them mushrooms. And I should be writing music for the band I'm in. I'm not writing the music. I should be fucking writing lyrics, or at least fucking, familiarizing myself as best as possible, because I got a show here soon. CJ Panic. Yes, let's hit a bomb. Let's just hit that shit. Bongathon. We'll do it. Billy Bong, good to see you, man. Long time no see. Tony, I bought some CBD flower, 3.5 for $25. I rolled it with some THC bud. Highly recommend to anyone who hasn't. Yeah, the mix. I mean, I'm sure CBD flower, which I haven't had much of. I've smoked a lot of. I have CBD cigarettes. I still have that thing with Vance Global. It's a CBD company. I should just whore myself out and put in all my links to every show I do. But if you've noticed, I don't even put descriptions on these things. These things I do this stream while I'm talking to you. As soon as we're done talking, it's for the people who are watching it later on. But for me, I'm on to the next thing. So that's why I do this stream. But when I do my shows, I put a bunch of links. Anyway, that being said, CBD flower. If you want pre-rolled cigarettes or whatever, I have a thing with Vance Global that if you use Venom, which is a pretty easy code to remember, they give you 20% off or some shit like that, which is pretty sweet. So that's cool. Yeah, if you ever want to do that, give them a try. But so it's not the same as flour, but if you're gonna roll it up anyway, I mean, it's okay. I don't know. They've done a good job, and they still are selling that Delta 8, as far as I know, too. So that's good too. Billy Bob Thornton, open mic night? No shit, right? Yeah, every night on this show is an open mic night for me, or the equivalent of. No, just when I get really stoned, I like to have a guitar in my hand, or bass usually, but I've been playing more guitar just because it's fun. All right, what did we land on again? Bongathon. Anyway, not by night today. I also haven't been playing, which is probably a good thing because I got other things than playing the guitar to do recently. Sandy, I went to Vance Global's website recently, and they've come out with Delta 8 gummies, which I saw that. They sent me an email, actually. You know, I'm subscribed or whatever, and I saw that, and I'm like, yeah, and I get them, you know, I get the same deals that you guys get is that 20% off. So, hey, I'll take it, dude. So, which is fine with me. So that's cool. I think that Venom code should work for those if you ever want to try them. I should try them and fucking take the initiative and just buy them and do a review. That's how I like doing reviews. I did 2 reviews recently, and I didn't, you know, buy it myself, and it just feels a little obligated. And the fact that I haven't put them out, I feel fucking like a dick. And I'm like, well, I mean, you know, and do what you can when you can. But yeah, Delta 8 gummies, I'd be definitely interested in those. You know, I feel like those are kind of perfect because I'm always worried with edibles. I either feel nothing at all, or it's mostly nothing at all. That I've heard of people like tripping balls and like freaking out. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't need to do that either. Jesus fell into the stream. Didn't know you were live. Yep, I'm live every Saturday night, or at least it's Saturday night in my crazy world. I don't know where you live. And you don't have to watch it on Saturday. But it's Shatterday all the time if you're watching this and you just heard what I said. So happy Shatterdays all of a sudden, right? Anyway. All right. Bongathon, one last mass for the cat ass. This cat right now was a good cat. He's a good cat. Even though he's a little crazy, he means the whole. He means a lot to me, this cat. Even though I've gotten more mad at this cat than almost any other cat. There's very few cats that ever really made me mad. But he can be a lot. He's a frustrating little guy. But he's very. I like him because he's one of the few cats you can just like pick up and like grab him and he just look at that black. You see his tongue sticking out? Look at his little tongue. He's like, I'm gonna stick it back in. He hates it, but he loves it. He sticks around for it is the point. He's the only cat that lets me squeeze him and hug him and love him. You can tell I've had him since a little kitty. He's like, yes, squeeze and love and hug me. I want to be on television and talk to other people. I know a lot of people who are allergic to cats who watch this show, so they're like, oh, let me see those little mittens. Let me see those terror mittens. See, and he's purring, and I'm really fucking with him bad right now. And he's 17 years old. So the fact that he's in that good of condition, he's a. Had I had a little more initiative, this was the cat that, Billy Bong, he's Salem. He's just one of those cats where I could have put him in a backpack, or something. They have those cat backpacks and then a leash and shit. I would just take him everywhere all the time, like a crazy person, pretty much. This would be the cat who would have been like, all right, let's do this. I'll just hang out all the time. Train him to like just hang out, like, and lay on my shoulders and shit like that. He would be the cat. He's so food motivated and so people motivated that he'd be the guy. But we've had a good run just hanging out at home, I guess. I feel the same. I wish I would have done more. But I got him, this ex-girlfriend, who, if Mickey D is still here, has recently reminded me of just how much of a fucking whore she was. Whore is a mean word to use, so she was a complete fucking skank, or skunk, as Mickey D would call her. Not quite a cunt. And she is definitely a skank. No, I'm just joking. So she's a skunt. No. But anyway, she came home with this little cat, and he like fit in my palm. He was like one of those weird little tiny fucking things. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing with this little tiny cat? Like, I don't know. And I never fucking fed him milk. You know what I mean? I think, and that's a big problem. He'll like suck on your ears and shit because he's like, he never got, like, I don't think he got any like mom cat time. He's just given away. And I'm like, yeah. So anyway, and she broke up like instantly. Well, we broke up, but even then, I think it was a mutual thing in the sense that I mean, apparently there was no limit to what fucking people can do to walk all over me, and I'll fucking take it at one point in my life. At least that's when you care about somebody. It's a weird thing, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, that being said, when we split, I ended up with a cat. So he's been a good cat, though. He's just always been crazy as fucking bad shit. Bats. I don't know how crazy they are. I know nutty is bad shit, right? But bats don't eat nuts, I thought. Whatever. You know what I mean. Billy Bong, was the cat your breakup present? Yeah. Car. I wish Car would have been nice too. No, I'll take the cat. I'll take this cat. But I can't have no more. Actually, I was thinking about getting a kitten, to be 100% honest. For Panda, she's right here. She needs a cat that she can, like, she'll hiss at it and fucking attack it. But eventually, I think she'll be friends with it. It's going to be a hard road to get them friends. But a kitten is something I've been thinking about. I have two cats that are 17, uh, and the other two cats that are in a part of my house, and then these cats that are in this part of the house. Uh, I just would like Ziggy. Like I said, it would take some of the burden off of him always being the cat that she like attacks him with love. If he walks, she literally like fucking runs up and like almost knocks him over with like how much she like rubs up against him. So like I would really like for her to it completely destroys my soul every time I talk about this all the time. And when I get another cat, I'll think about this all the time. Is she had a brother and exactly the same age, and and yeah, he's not here, obviously. And I'm like, fuck, that was exactly what was perfect. They were gonna have each other, you know. She's only like just turned 3, I think. So I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. Maybe another kitten is what although I never plan on getting another kitten. I just feel like if I can make Panda happy, that would be great. And if it helps Ziggy a little bit, that'd be great too. Although Ziggy's already a trooper for how well he takes the dog. And she's actually gotten really good with the dog too. Anyway, let me get that really quick because it's only 9:45 and I have fucking hours of work to do and fucking so much shit. So I just can't shut up when I talk with you guys because I have a good time. I miss you guys. And, you know, now, as I say, you guys are pretty much the only people I got, except for now I got a band too. And those guys are really cool guys. And eventually you'll have to meet the band because why not? They all smoke weed. I know at least one of them dabs. I'll dab him the fuck up. We'll have a good time. He can actually play the guitar too. Full moon tonight. Well, that's why I feel like a wolf man. Part man, part wolf. Very creative on the naming. All right, cat man. He's pretty much a cat man. And he bites me. He's definitely bit me enough times that he's turned me into a cat wolf. Part cat. All right, don't let me go on. What was I get? The bongathon. Oh yeah. Which I got to really precariously stanced bong in there, so I gotta be careful. But yeah, other than the band, I really didn't have many people in my life. And the people I do have in my life are on the show. So when I say you guys are like all I got, like you mean the world to me and yada yada, you really do. The most important people in my life are also usually on the show 90% of the time. So thank you for being in such a important group to me. Like, this group of people, the Shatter crew, is it means a lot to me. So Sandy, I just ordered some Delta 8 gummies from Vans Global and the Venom coupon works. Well, there you go. So that's kick-ass. I like I said, I should do that too and do a video on them because they came to me initially and gave me the code and were really nice and like personal. I've had two peak companies come to me and were really cool, talked to me and were like, and then I've had a couple companies that felt very automated where they're like, you are a brand ambassador, you should try. And I'm like, it's very robotic. And I've done one and it just felt stale and the product wasn't that great. I'm like, yeah, because if you have a good product, usually you're going to pay for a PR guy who goes out and sends emails and is personally doing stuff, or you do yourself. And I'm like, the Vance Global guys were really cool. So I'm just putting that out there. And they came to me and I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then they had a good product. And it's high price stuff, but it's because it's good. You know what I mean? I've tried like 8 different CBD pre-roll smokes, like the fake cigarette type things. CBD cigarettes is pretty much what they are, it feels like. But these ones are the only ones that feel like smoking a joint. And I'm like I said, there's ups and downs to that. There's some good things because I love smoking a joint. Bad thing is it smells like pot, dude. Like you can't smoke that in public without something coming up to you. I haven't tried it. Not the CBD ones or the Delta 8 ones. And the Delta 8 ones, you're pushing some limits there too. All right, I need a bowl. Oh, too many bongs, not enough bowls. All right, but good on you. I would like to know how they are, so please let me know. And then that's what I'm gonna do. I should buy some because I have enough for that. But at the same time, I've been so broke. And the band I'm in, I'd like to start supporting that more. Also, I've been trying to do a Patreon page, not a Patreon page, a GoFundMe. So, update, by the way. I was going to do the thing that I've been talking about where I wanted to get an interview with Tommy Chong. This is still a big thing for me. So I wanted to do a thing to get an interview with Tommy Chong, yada, yada. I've been trying to get a hold of Tommy Chong to get a price because I'm going to do I think it's a GoFundMe I might start and we can share the link around and share with everybody who actually wants to do it on the show. And I wanted to do it where it tracks it or I track it. And if you spend money on doing it, you get to ask a question for Tommy. I think I've explained that a couple of times, but that's the gist of it. Is I want an interview with Tommy Chong. I want to be helped to fund it because I can't afford it. It's thousands of dollars probably. So any help I could get or even try to do this would be what would make this happen. And as a prize or a gift to give away for spending money on that would be you get to ask Tommy Chong a question. Yada, yada. Just said that. But in order for me to start like a GoFundMe page, because that's the first one I went to start or think about, because I've never done any of those things. I started thinking about it. I got to the end, and fortunately, it's pretty quick, and it's like, how much are you trying to raise? And I'm like, I don't know the exact price on how much Tommy Chong costs to do it. So when you look up Tommy Chong's agent, Tommy Chong's booking, book Tommy Chong, all these different Google searches I did, the things that come up are these agent.com and shit like that. And it's like, we work with Tommy and, you talk to us, say what you want, and then we email that, which I'm like, okay, fine, I might do that, but you pay to even talk for the offer. You have to pay. And I'm like, well, so now I'm paying money to have somebody talk to him, and I'm never in direct contact. And then I'm like, maybe that's what I have to do. But again, I don't have any money to start it with. And all I wanted, and I'm sure if he had a way to know this, I'd be like, dude, 2 seconds. How much would it be for a half hour or hour interview over FaceTime or whatever you want to call it? And because I'm going to raise the money. But if I don't have a price to get, how the fuck am I going to do that? I'm bullshitting again. Anyway, because that's an easy question that I'm sure his agent wouldn't mind answering is just how much money should I raise to interview your client for half hour? The one of them I saw, which was like, says that he's $100,000 up performer, which kind of makes sense. But that's if you actually have him flown or videotaped, or if he's going somewhere, that's probably including his trip and shit. So, all right, before I read this one, Billy Bong, I'm going to read it right after I take the last dab of the night. But I'll cover this. If anybody else has any shit to hold me up, now's your chance, because I'll respond, because that's what I do. Cheers, everybody. Oh, yeah, that's good right there. buy that guy. Cheers, indeed. Whoa! Man, that fucking guava sundae. No. I don't know what the fuck it is right now. I think it's guava sundae. Is actually good. Yeah, guava sundae. This is good stuff. All right. Billy Bog. Let her rip, tater chip. Billy Bog. I went to a festival in Michigan last week. My brother set up a cannabis cup, and Tommy Chong wanted $50K to show up and judge the cannabis for a day, which is good. That's good pricing because, like I said, they said he's 100,000 up for that, and that was the only pricing I could get on him after looking at a lot, like pages of like Tommy Chong agent, Tommy Chong booking, Tommy Chong. The one thing that said any pricing, because I also went to pricing, said that he had to have him like flown out. See, he might have already been out that way, but I don't know. But see, and I bet you can negotiate. If you told him you're judging a pot contest, he might be like, you know what I mean? Getting paid to get stoned is actually literally why he did his business in the way, shape, and form he did it. So I get it. But yeah, I also can. I don't want to get too into it with like not into it, but like I don't want to like look too like, hey, but that's how you do these things. I've had really good luck with getting a hold of people by just contacting them on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram's better. When you contact someone on Facebook, it looks like you're trying to like stalk them and fuck them after they're dead or something. I don't know. They don't like that. But Instagram, it seems like everyone's like, okay, yeah, fucking, because it's, I don't know. I don't know. Also, famous people have private Facebook accounts that you can't really message. It just sends you a link to go to their other shit. But famous people on Instagram, or wait, did I say that right? Famous people on Facebook have accounts, but you can't, like, when you go to message them, they'll send you to like an email or something, which maybe that's what I need to try to do for Tommy Chong right now. Let's go to his Facebook and see where his contact me says in that. But anyway, usually Instagram, you go to anybody and it says message them right now. You can message them. And I'm sure if they're super famous, they just get 100,000 messages. And that's probably why mine's not even looked at. But I don't know. That being said, I know some guys who work at This Is Not a Chong. The guy who made this, I've been in contact simply because I bought bonds from him. And I can just say, hey, and actually more than that. So he's also runs the This Is Not a Chong website, not website, Facebook page. And when I made it wasn't like a review, but it kind of was, of my Chong Bong, just a video about my Chong Bong, because my bong means that much to me. When I made that video, I sent it to the Chong group on Facebook that he runs. So he also contacted me then too, and then I ended up getting a set of bongs. That bong and I got a flower bong and a dab rig that's like a mini version of it. I wanted to do a whole bunch, but I'm a broke pile of shit. But he's reasonably priced, even though I paid pretty high for that. But it was an auction, so you get what you get, regardless. I could contact him. He might be able to contact Tommy. He doesn't have that direct, but he might have a better chance of knowing. At the same time, he might not, because that was pretty past tense. I've seen some of his comments that say how much. I was like, God, he only does stuff for money and shit like that. So like, but not in a bad way, but it's like, yeah, like when people are like, hey, you should get him on the Facebook and ask him a question, or like, what does he think about these things? He's like, I don't know, I can't contact the guy, kind of thing. It has that feel, or if so, he doesn't have contact with his agent. He has contact with him maybe every now and then, especially if he's in town or something like that. That being said, once I do the GoFundMe or whatever, I wish if any of you have an opinion on what's the best way to do this fundraiser that I'm trying to do, which the only thing holding me back right now, again, is the pricing. what do I charge? How much am I trying to raise? Is it 50,000, or is that's for him coming out and judging? So actually, that's pretty relevant, Billy Bong. That probably means that I'm guessing at least 10 grand. Let's say at least 10 grand. I would have to raise for him to do a hour of FaceTime. That's with his assistant setting up his camera to do an interview. Or I bet you he'll do it with like just holding it because he's an older guy and he just will do it easy as he can. That being said, he probably wants like 10 grand. I'm going to set up a thing. I don't know what anybody who's interested in this, what would you donate to? Is it GoFundMe? Is that what people do these days? Is that what the kids are doing to not die from their medical expenses these days? I don't know. So, but yeah, or I've thought about doing a Patreon, but that's kind of not the same thing. That's like a monthly thing. I don't know. Fucking, I actually never have been on those websites myself, really. I've never had enough money to give people every month. I wish I did. Probably would, at least a few people. But the point being is I want to make one of those. I don't know what's the preferred one to do it. I need a price. That was the big thing. Right now, I shouldn't be concentrating on any of that shit. I still have videos to edit. I have a show next month in my band that I joined last month. I had the most. So, yeah. Billy Bong, just set up your own festival and charge people to get in, play music and stuff like that. Hey, I've often thought, the thought has ran through my head of how cool it would be. My cousin was a promoter and I think part owner at one point in time and co-wish creator, or she married the guy who created, so she became co-creator and co-owner and co-everything, and then head promoter, I believe, of a festival in Costa Rica, which was really cool. And I was invited to go, but I never had money, and I'm like, and how am I gonna just go and then not have any pot in Costa Rica? And she's like, oh, I can get pot. I'm like, will I see you? She's like, ooh, I'm gonna be busy because I got a lot to do when this. So I'm like, so I won't see you, but you can get pot in Costa Rica. I'm like, are you gonna give me a fucking number? How am I gonna do that? Sandy Venom stock. I've often thought of that, and so there's also a metal festival that goes on in Cheyenne, Colorado. I believe it's called Fire on the Mountain, and my band, Condemned to Burn, not my band, I just say that. The band I'm in, Condemned to Burn, is fucking applying for it. It's not easy, but unfortunately, it's something that you can kind of like apply for, at least in some way, shape, or form. And that's one that's a little feasible. It's not huge, and they take a lot of bands, and that would be good. But it makes me think that it wouldn't be impossible to start a pretty small festival. Honestly, I would go to almost any festival. Almost, unless the music is just unbearable. I would go to like an EDM festival. I just don't love EDM music. I mean, I just kind of don't. But I would go to like Burning Man because it just seems so cool to me. I love festivals, so there's that weird combination. But there's plenty of metal festivals all over the world all the time. I could just get by doing that all the time. Although the world's crazy right now. Psycho Las Vegas is happening right now, and I'm not there. I think it's the last day was maybe yesterday, but there's usually an after party day too. Some people spend a whole fucking like a week before and a week after because they're rich, apparently, or 2 weeks. That's their 2 week vacation. So it's only 3 days, but they'll spend 3 days before and after, which I would have too, and kind of did. Yeah, I did. And when I went, so. It's what it is. I much rather, personally, I know this is kind of weird, and that's not everybody. These two things are equal to me. Is I rather be on stage. Oh, I rather be on stage uh, in a small crowd of whatever, 10 to 100 to 1,000 at the most, in a little place. Place I'm at maxes out at probably like 200. No, that's would be crazy. It's a little place, fun place, good place. But anyway, I'd rather just be on the stage at all in front of almost nobody with my band, because my band fucking is really good, and I have more fun on stage and playing with them and performing with them than going to a lot of concerts, like festival style. Like I'm going to what fucking Megadeth next Friday, and I got the early VIP entrance with the band. I'm going with my band, so there'll be pictures on my Instagram of that one and the Condemned to Burn Instagram, and that's amazing. It's stuff like that. It's like, okay, it takes something like that, something really high, before I'm like, okay, but I'd rather do my own thing, and I get to be where I get to be, you know what I mean? Uh, Festivals, you have to go to them and then like pay pay money. Anything, that's my goal. It's just to go to a festival and play. So I just can be there and not pay money. My ultimate goal, honestly, would be to play, I want to say 70 tons of metal if I could stomach it. But I'd take Psycho Las Vegas. I could drive there. It's not on the other side of the world. Although 70 tons, I would take that. I would take that too. Pretty much any festival, because I get to be there. Playing a festival, actually, my true dream has always been to play at Red Rocks in any way, shape, or form. It's not a metal place, but it's just, that's the most iconic venue that ever touched me and anybody who's ever been there. If you've had a good experience there, you could, of course, have a bad one, but if you had anyone who knows what a good night at Red Rocks is, I mean, it's fucking, if nothing else like it. Shit like that is what makes me want to be an entertainer. That's what puts me in the position to do shit like this, and to be behind a guitar, behind anything, is like, that there's something magical. And I knew it from a kid. I remember seeing concerts when I was a little kid, and every now and then, especially if someone good, but every now and then, man, the feeling of that cheek hurting smile that you can't, it's like, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it's very powerful, and it means a lot to me, and that's what I've been chasing that high ever since. And on that note, everybody, we're gonna have a good night, and best of dreams, and hopefully you're gonna live yours. Mr. Ziggy, do you want to do the honors? He's like, fuck you and your opposable thumb. All right, guys. Make sure to take it easy and keep it keefy. We'll see you next week. I do this every Saturday. Check out Condemned to Burn for me if you would. Anybody who likes metal, check them out. There's just an Instagram. There's some instrumental work. There's intros to the band. There's shit like that. But it would mean a lot. Give some comments and likes over to them, because that's giving it to me even more. That's like taking the likes you give to this page and like laser beaming them over to them, because it's even more concentrated and powerful. Billy Bong. Ziggy throws up the horns. All right, everybody, you take it easy. Thanks. You always make my nights great. That's why I swear I was supposed to be over 2 hours ago, if that means anything to you. Even though I've only been on for 2 hours, I was supposed to start an hour before that. Anyway, have a good night. Good night, Ziggs.